Welcome back to Outdoors with Larry Ray on ESPN 790 AM. Brought to you proudly by the Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency.
Hey, welcome back to Outdoors with Larry Ray as we wrap up the fastest 90 minutes in outdoor radio programming on this show number 493. Since we started back in August of 2001 and still working on some details for show number 500 coming up in 7 weeks, but this is first Saturday. I think it's still first Saturday. It goes by so fast, but that means Dave Gabbert and Gene Smith, or as I call him.
Good morning.
There's the baritone voice from Frazier. There's Dave Gabbert on the line, and of course from Raleigh, from the heart of Raleigh, comes my man Gene Smith. And
Good morning.
Gene will close us out with a pun, I'm sure, but. Hey, we got a story to tell here, and thanks to our man Ron Wong, who is everywhere. There was a tournament last weekend, the American Crappie Trail. And, Ron, where was that tournament held?
It was held on the Washita River in Monroe, Louisiana, and the day before the tournament, Thursday, which is registration day for the American Crappie Trail tournament there, we had a little friend visit us called Laura.
Yes.
and I have to tell you something. Folks, I've been around this country everywhere and have experienced a lot of different things, but I have never experienced being in a hurricane. And I have to tell you, we were very fortunate there on the Washita River there in Monroe, Louisiana, and that the hurricane really, the eye of it kind of skirted around to the west of it, and we got winds up to about 45 miles an hour and about 4 inches of rain in about 3 hours, and then it went away. So it was all good.
It's all good. Of course, our hearts go out to those folks. Got lots of friends in Lake Charles and that area down there, and what an interesting tournament. So Ron said, would you like to talk to Robert Carlile? He won the thing.
I have to tell you, I've met Robert down the road.
Yes.
And I have seen him in action in I can't tell you how many top tens. And he's typically by himself over this past year and part of last year. But amazing guy.
Well, Robert.
Amazing fisherman.
Well, let's talk to Robert. Robert Carlile. Good morning, Robert.
Good morning.
I know you got to be still thinking about what happened and the transfer, and when you got down there and you knew Laura was coming, you would have really liked to have a new trolling motor. Well, I think you won one at least. So you had trolling motor problems. You had all these things going against you. You had the hurricane coming in. Talk about how, through all of this, you were able to catch 13.10 pounds on Friday, 14.87 pounds on Saturday for a 14-fish limit of 27, almost 28 pounds. So talk about it, Robert. Have you experienced anything like this before, getting ready to fish, a hurricane coming up like this?
Well, I've never had a hurricane. We're tournament fishing wouldn't be what it is without some kind of storm blowing through. I mean, we're used to that. I brought three different rain suits, and luckily I didn't need but one of them. That one day was all it was. But Thursday with the hurricane and 80-mile-an-hour winds, that was a new experience. There's no doubt.
And so you got into this thing. You're fishing solo. And talk about there's how many boats are on 70-man field? Is that what it is? What is it?
They had 68 boats.
68 boats
that dropped out.
All right. Were there many solos in this thing? I mean, was Robert one of the few solos?
There was 2 other solos, and that was it.
Okay. So Robert, you had this thing set up. You said you'd found fish suspended in the bayou there in the channel. You tried minnows, they wouldn't bite them. So talk about, and Ron will expound on this, talk about how you were able to catch that much fish.
Well, we know that after a cold front, and that's basically what Laura was, any hurricane, any storm that blows through is going to be, change the pressure. And so this was basically like a cold front blowing through. So we treat all of them about the same. We look at the fish are going to become lethargic. They're not really going to respond to baits. They're not really going to want to eat. And that's going to go on for about 3 days. So with Laura coming through on Thursday, we knew that Friday and Saturday were both going to be a challenge.
Okay.
So when that happens, one of the first things we do is go to minnows. Minnows are always a great bait. But when minnows don't work, we go to presenting smaller baits. And that's what I did. I made a progression early on to a minnow, and on the minnow, they just wouldn't bite as aggressively. They just come up there and basically just hold it in their mouth, and you couldn't catch them. And a lot of the tournament anglers said that exact same thing. When I described it, that you could feel the fish come up there and just grab a hold of it, but it wouldn't be there when you'd set the hook. And everybody says that same thing. And with this new technology, you watch their behaviors.
Yeah.
That's the cool thing about this. With the live scope, we can see what those fish are doing, and so a lot of times we see them in an aggressive mode. They're actually kind of nose up in the water. They're not sitting there flat and level. They're sitting there with a nose up in a feeding mode. So I call that a positive attitude. That means that they're really going to eat. So a lot of times you find them just a neutral attitude. They're just sitting there floating along. They're kind of like they're taking a nap, and usually you can get those to feed the fish to feed. But these fish were actually in a negative attitude. Their nose was actually a little bit lower than their tail. And when you find them in that mood, they just don't want to bite. And I saw a lot of that, so I started downsizing. And I have a hair jig that I run.
Right.
It's nothing special. It's just a hair jig, but it's a 32nd ounce hair jig. So it's a little bitty. It's only about an inch long, and it's tiny. And what happens if you can just get that bait in front of those fish and annoy them long enough, they just reach up and smack it. And being so small, that hook tends to get in their mouth a little bit further, so I have a little bit better hookups. And
you, of course, is using the silver and white MCM jigs. That's your special jigs that you make, which...
No, MCM is a sponsor of mine, and he hand-ties jigs. He also pours baits, rubber baits, plastic baits for me.
He has special... you have them made for you. Okay, but I'm assuming that you had a lot of say-so on what they look like and feel like, though. So.
Oh, yes. He's a custom maker. He does exactly what we ask for.
Now, you being a working man in Oklahoma, where you're used to tornadoes and stuff like that. I don't think you ever had a hurricane in Oklahoma. And being a man that's you have a machine shop in Pryor Creek, is that right?
That's correct.
And where's Pryor Creek? Where is that located? Close to for us big city folks here?
Sure, we're about 30 miles east of Tulsa in northeast Oklahoma.
That's what I thought you were, because you're really close to God's country, Fayetteville, Arkansas, where I went to school, Robert. That's why I just wanted you to throw that in there, okay?
Well, Robert, the next time I'm in Tulsa to cover a tournament,
you need to go.
I'm going to have to look you up.
Yeah.
And get you to take me crappie fishing and show me how you do it, because you did a great job down there at the Ouachita River. I mean, you're going up against the best there is in the country, and it was pretty amazing for the kind of weight. You know, what people don't understand is we're in late summertime.
Yeah.
And crappie aren't that big. Robert caught a little better than a 2-pound average crappie.
Yeah, that's amazing
for this time of year.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Robert, did that kind of surprise you for the quality of crappie in terms of how big they are there for this time of the year?
Well, yeah, obviously, I've heard stories about the Ouachita River for a while, but it seems like everywhere down south those crappie grow a little bit bigger anyway.
Yeah.
But the Ouachita River has definitely got to be one of the top fisheries in the country, because it's just like Ron's saying there. You know, a fish that's weighing 2 pounds now is going to end up weighing 2.3 pounds or so. You know, they're going to gain almost 20 to 25% of their body weight throughout the winter before spawn next year.
So, I mean, when you're fishing in late August and you're coming in with with almost 28 pounds. It's almost it blows my mind when I picked this up that Ron had sent me what you went through, but just an amazing story, Robert. I know you need to thank you want to thank that MCM Tackle out of Camp Wood, Texas. That's your buddies there that do the jigs for you. I'm sure you want to thank those guys that found you a trolling motor. So you got you a trolling motor, and then you've also got a new boat, Robert. So you'll have to give that to Ron, I guess. So
yeah.
well, I want to remind everybody to go out to lroutdoors.com, and all of the American Crappie Trail Tournament
great pictures
are up, and you're going to be able to see
Robert
holding up his trophies,
yes.
his check that he won for a new Ranger boat with a Mercury motor on it. What a deal.
Well, Robert, we want to thank you for being with us this morning on Outdoors with Larry Ray, buddy. Congratulations again. Almost $60,000 in cash and prizes. Went to the winners of this tournament, and you did it. And I like what one of these press releases came out said that you perseverance, patience, and confidence. That's pretty good 3 things to have, Robert. So thank you, buddy. We appreciate you being with us. Have a great day, okay?
I will see you in Grenada, buddy.
Yep, you guys.
All right.
See y'all.
Headed
Bye.
that way.
All right, buddy.
Bye-bye.
See you, Ron. Thank you, Ron. I'll talk to you next week. You're on the show next week, Ron. Okay. I hope Ron knows that. Hey, Dave, thank y'all for being with us. Hey, Gene, you've been wonderful as you always have. Back to back. I hate to double work you guys. I know
no, enjoy it. You know that.
I know you're worn out. Dave, he drives all over the place. You know, he's going here and there, going to Missouri. We got him there, and then he's gone to Murfreesboro. He's gone to Louisville, and sometime he's going to come back down here because he's got we got to talk rifle before deer season starts and everything. So, any words of wisdom from you, Dave?
And well, just
be safe is what I want you to say. It's Labor Day weekend, folks.
Yeah, the back, out there in Labor Day, it's still, even though a lot of people are hitting the dove fields and stuff like that, there's still a lot of boaters out there. A lot of boaters. So,
yeah, this weekend is one of those weekends that I know when we talk to Joe Campbell, and about his 23 years as an investigator for the TWRA, and talking about boating accidents. So, Gene, close us out with a pun, and we're going to be out of here.
All right. This young man, he got on the phone and said, "Is this the fire department?" He said, "Yes, it is." He said, "Well, my house is on fire. Hurry, you need to come over here." He said, the fireman said, "Well, how are we going to get there?" He said, "One of them big old red trucks."
Oh, me. No address. Gene Smith. Thanks, Gene. Thanks, Dave. And as I say all the time, it doesn't cost an extra cent to be a good sport. And what else? God bless the USA.